just discussing how there is nekama when any kusala arises, when the wholesome roots are there, aloba, adosa, and amoha. There has to be panya with the kusala when it is a parami, when it is developed as a perfection. So now, is there any nekama?
I don't know, Sarah.
That's the point. If there's no understanding, it's not known. It's not known now whether the chitta and cetasikas are kusala or akusala, whether there's understanding, wise considering, or whether there's clinging. So without understanding, nothing is known at all. So that's why, in order to understand what is nekama or any reality, there has to be the beginning of understanding what appears now. Otherwise, it's all just speculation and guesswork, or taking wholesome states for being mine. But actually, they're just dharmas arising and falling away. So moments of clinging to sense objects, moments of letting go when there are moments of understanding, or moments of generosity or kindness. But without understanding, nekama and kanti and virya and satcha, they can never be perfections, never be paramis. Let's see if Ajahn would like to discuss this topic a little further.
Why do we listen to the truth? See, why do we listen to understand the truth? Listen to the truth. What is the truth? The truth of what? See, what for? Talk about all these moments. Just to nekama, to be nekama, isn't it? Away from ignorance, attachment, and all kinds of akusala. Otherwise, it's conditioned by ignorance again, aversion again, attachment again, on and on and on and on. But why do we listen to understand the truth of what is there in life each moment? Can it be known? Can it be studied? Can it be realized the truth? What is it? If there's no understanding, no hearing, no considering about the truth, how can there be nekama, away from ignorance, attachment, aversion, and all kinds of wholesome realities? And then finally, even the wholesome realities cannot be object of attachment and ignorance anymore. It is the understanding of even what is there right now. There's no understanding of the truth of it yet. So anyone who just heard about the truth and realized that it can be understood better and better, more and more, little by little, doesn't let go the moment of listening to the truth, considering it, until there is more understanding of the truth of what is there, as it is right now or anytime. It's there to be studied. Is it true?
Yes, Ajahn, it's true.
Satya Bharami begin to be true to the truth. If there's no word about the truth, how can there be moment of listening, considering to what is there as it is? Impossible. But as soon as there is hearing about the ultimate truth of life each moment, there can be moment of being interested to the truth, to understand what is there as it is. Who knows what is the truth of this moment? No idea at all, no thought about it at all. Just live without any understanding and no thought about. There is no understanding of the truth of what is there right now at all until the word about the truth is heard and considered the benefit of understanding what is there better than no understanding of the truth of what is there at all. So listening to the truth just to understand the truth rather than not hearing about the truth, no understanding about the truth at all. See, that's why hearing about the truth is not enough at all. As soon as there are more to be heard, to be considered, to be studied, to be realized, like now, see, little by little, it begins with being truthful to the truth, just to understand the truth, while it can be understood. Otherwise, not any time to hear the words about the truth. But now it's time to hear the word about the truth of what is so real right now and begin to consider what is true and what is not true. So now, what is true and what is not true?
Now it's true is hearing about the truth.
Yes, hearing is hearing, a little more considering about each word of each reality. Hearing, see, we don't just pass it without any interest at all to understand more of hearing. If there's no word about hearing, how can it be understood a little by little?
Yep,
But when there is the word about the truth of even hearing, there should be moment of being interested to understand the truth, to be true to the truth. There is hearing. It's not known at all. It just arises and falls away many, many times a day, in a day, every day, but no understanding of the ultimate truth of it. But hearing about the truth of it is so interesting to consider, to understand it as it is, not as we usually take it for the idea or the story about that which is not there. Just thinking. Learn to understand life, learn to understand what is there now, learn to understand the truth and be true to the truth because it's so true. So, hearing again and again, consider it again and again until firm confidence of the reality as not anyone at all. Hearing is conditioned to arise and then gone. How can it be taken for anyone or anything heard and so on? It's quite a very, very long task to let what is there as atta, something, not to be there anymore. Because in truth, hearing is just hearing. How can it be I hear? So the I at moment of hearing has to be taken away, out, never to arise again, to the idea I hear. Nothing is there as people and things at all. Only one kind of truth, a reality, whether it experience the object or it's there heat or cold or smell or taste, and in truth, all gone instantly as soon as it has arisen. Gradually letting go ignorance and attachment to that which is not there anymore. As soon as it has arisen, it's gone instantly. Gone instantly means that it cannot arise again because it's gone completely, ultimately, never be found again. Is this life? Is it true?
Dạ,
There's, there is no one, only different realities in just a split second. That's all. So true. And it's not just to be heard and thought about, it can be realized when right understanding is so firm to understand more, a little more, of each different realities in life. Each one is different by conditions. It cannot be exchanged at all. Seeing a reality is real, now it sees, so it's real, but it's gone unknowingly. And in truth, life is just the rising and falling away of different kinds of dhammas. That's all. That's why having such understanding of the truth firmer and firmer, to be such a being true to the truth of what is there right now. So it's not yet being true to the truth of seeing, but the more hearing, the more considering, it develops secretly, unknowingly, because it's so deep, it's so enormous, from eons and eons ago, taken for someone or I, each life, each moment. Nothing to be done at all, because it's there already by conditions. Just learn to understand what is there, little by little. That seeing is not that which is seen. See, and what is seen is just a speck. How can it be someone or something if it does not arise and falls again in succession, succeedingly from moment to moment, while there are other things, other realities in between? How much ignorance of the truth until hearing about each moment of different chitta, different conditioned reality from moment to moment by many conditions unknown until its moment of beginning to consider the truth. How can seeing be someone impossible? Without conditions, it cannot arise. And who can stop the reality which is conditioned to arise just to see, because it's there already? How can it be someone? It's gone instantly. That's why learning to understand the truth of each moment in life, from birth on to now and up to death. It can be learned, it can be studied, because it's just right there now, from head to toe, the source of the world, of the universes, of everything. But it's all forgotten from head to toe. No thought about it at all. But it's there, secretly, the source of the world, the source of this moment. No matter seeing, hearing, considering, liking, disliking, everything is there. Nowhere else. So just have the truthfulness to the truth, that's all. No one, no atta, not anything, not anyone at all. It's just a moment of that which is conditioned to arise, to be such, and then gone instantly. Nikama is it? Renunciation, gradually away from ignorance and attachment. So very, very little at a time, but better than none. No matter it's very, very big, very, very high mountain, it comes from just a bit of dust or speck of everything, hardness and all. That's all. So right understanding is just like that. It can be so great that it can realize what is there right now, just only one at a time, a little more clearer and clearer until realizing just the truth of each one. But if there's no understanding of what is there, how can there be the understanding of the truth? What is it? This and that. Seeing and that which is seen. So live to understand the truth, to develop right understanding, to have nekama as parami, because panya understands actually it's the word of nothing important at all, because it's there by conditions and gone so rapidly. And it conditioned the idea, wrong understanding that is something permanent, atta. That's why learning to understand the words of the Buddha, all dhammas are anatta, all. So what is dhamma, adhamma, adhamma, all of them, anatta, by condition and gone, instantly, even right now or anytime. And that has to be enrooted so firm until it can condition the moment of recollecting that which has been heard. It's there right now. Right now, hardness is there. And that which experiences hardness is also there. One experience hardness and the other is hard. That's all. No cup, no bag, nothing at all. Right understanding begin not to take it little by little as something permanent, until all which are taken for something and self can be letting go. No more wrong understanding, no more self, no more things at all. Anatta, each one. And this is life. All Adhamas. And so many Dhammas, that's why we learn one Dhamma at a time, which is there appearing, for example, seeing, a moment of seeing, that which sees, and that which is seen. That's all. Hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. Just born to see, to hear, to smell, to taste, to touch, and to think, and born to eat 3 times a day or more. And tomorrow again, eating all day, again, each day. That's all. Just live and eat and cling and ignorant. No understanding of anything at all. Because the truth is covered up by the appearing of nimitta of something, because of the arising and falling away, succeeded from moment to moment by the next one, on and on, endlessly. We just call it birth and birth again and death again. On and on, until right understanding begin to understand the truth, to let go ignorance, which condition clinging, attaching to what is there instantly, unknowingly, asava, which arises unknowingly. Right now, I'm speaking, I'm seeing, I'm thinking, no I. All Adhamas, little by little. So we can talk about any Dhamma to have a little more understanding of the truth of that which is there, hidden, no understanding at all. Like we talk about sati, we talk about vitaka, we talk about pasa and so on. Not the word, but the truth, unknown until
Kim
hearing
Hong,
about it.
Yep,
Kim
Ajahn.
Hong, I think a couple of weeks ago you were asking about sati, and I'm not sure if we finished the discussion. Is there anything more you'd like to discuss about nekama or
Yeah, thank you, Ajahn. Yes, the wonder is sometimes we don't know the reality. Even at the moment it's wholesome or wholesome, we don't know, but how we accumulated about Nikamya, Ajahn.
Do we have to use any word? While there's no ignorance and attachment and aversion right now at moment of understanding. But we have to use the word or the term for each reality, which is different. Ignorance and right understanding, different realities. Without words, how can they be known as they are different? So now be true to the truth. Ignorant of seeing is there. Tiddasawa, see,
Yep,
avijja
Ajahn.
sawa, pawasawa, kamaswa, all are unknown, clinging to that as something. Tiddasawa, avijjasawa, kamasawa, pawasawa, all there.
Yep,
So,
Ajahn.
so just learn to understand a little more of the truth, which is so very, very subtle.
Yep, Ajahn. So subtle. The first level that I just heard about Nikamya, it seemed like someone done it or do it by someone. That's the moment I just clear that I can more elaborate about it. That's just Dhamma is happened by its condition.
At moment of understanding, less ignorance, less attachment, less the object which the reality which is different from nekama. See,
Yep.
by itself, the way it is, no one there,
Yes.
or adamas, different characteristic, different function.
That's right,
so
Ajahn.
no one can know nekama, no one can understand it. So now, if there's loba, it's arising by conditions. It can be understood, a moment of understanding. Nekama is there. There is the letting go of loba at that moment, at moments of kindness. There is nekama, but maybe no understanding at all at that moment. But it's not anyone who can do anything or who can know nekama. But as John said, it's not the word that matters, but at a moment of understanding, there is the letting go of akusala. There's the letting go of ignorance at that moment, for a moment only, by conditions, not by anyone doing anything. And at this moment, Kim Hong, is there any sati?
I don't know, Sarah.
So this is
I just realized that at the moment or understand maybe has some wholesomeness with wisdom, because without wholesomeness with wisdom cannot understand what Ajahn mentioned about it, Sarah.
and at moments of understanding, sati must be there.
Yes, I think so, Sarah.
Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me.
So source
Also,
voice.
I cannot hear
very
you.
low.
Sarah, I think your connection is not good. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now, Kim Hong?
Yes,
really.
a little bit better, Sarah.
A little bit better. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
try, and
Sarah.
if I lose the connection again, I leave it. Yes. So yes, at moments of understanding, at moments of wise considering, sati must be there, being.
We cannot hear you,
Guiding.
Sarah.
We cannot hear your voice.
Okay, I'll let Jonathan or others carry on.
Otherwise, you turn your picture off a bit. Sarah, sometimes it happens. Yeah.
That's condition. That's so bad is that we cannot hear Sarah properly. I cannot hear your voice, John.
Turn on my audio. Is that better?
Yes, now
Good.
it's clear
Thank you.
now.
Thanks, Liang. I forgot to turn on the audio. I think Sarah was saying that it's the reality that arises that performs the function. And the description of that function may sound like someone doing something, but that's never the case. It's always the case of the reality performing the function. We have to use conventional language to describe that function. And so it seems like a situation is being described, but in reality, there's no situation in terms of their moment-to-moment realities, of course. And that's the best we have to appreciate that a description in conventional terms is just that.
Yep, John.
And in the case of renunciation, Kim Hong, yes, it's often defined in terms of giving up the home life to lead the homeless life, to become a monk or something like that. But again, quite apart from the fact that that's a situation rather than a moment of reality that's being, sounds like is being described, there's also the fact that renunciation can occur at any moment of kusala. So it doesn't have to be anything to do with giving up the home life to become a monk. There's renunciation from a kusala at any moment of kusala. And that's said in the texts.
Yeah, without discussion, we are confused that we have been told that nekama is giving something or
Yes.
go with homeless or to find
Right.
something to do for nekama.
Mm-hmm. That's actually not the case. It has to be a reality that performs its function in a single moment.
Yeah. Right.
And when a situation is being described, we appreciate that there's bound to be both kusala and akusala during the course of a conventional situation.
I think it's useful that the subject is brought up. We touched on it last week sometime. You know, I think it's important, as is being intimated, that it's a renunciation of a kusala. And I think more specifically, second noble truth, which is clinging, and the giving up of clinging or giving up of attachment to sensuous objects at that particular moment. And that's why there's the allusion towards karma being like in, sensuous objects. So there's a letting go at that particular moment of the letting go of hanging on, be it, and it's often related to, as has been spoken about, the bhikkhu, or the lay person who goes forth and renounces. But I think it's what's been spoken today. He renounces, or she, a kusala at any particular moment, and it's manifest in their behaviour, ideally.
You are right, Sandra. sometimes we confuse that has been told by someone that we have to give up or hasn't elaborate like someone to do Dhamma like that.
Because there's no understanding of dhammas as anatta. That's why there's always the idea of someone doing something. But actually any moment of kusala, it is nekama. And when it is kusala with understanding, it is the development of the parami.
And obviously, the person who makes that comment obviously has the idea that just following the rule is kusala, but that's not the case, we know.
And the reason
So, Jonathan, would you say? Sorry,
Sorry.
go on.
I just finished while I've got a connection. And the reason I asked about sati is because you were asking about sati last time. And again, people have an idea of a conventional idea of sati, like they think we're here in a discussion, so there must be sati, or when mindfully going about one's daily life, there is sati. But this is just ignorant talk about situations and someone doing something. So, like you answered, now is there sati? Who knows? At moments of kusala, there is sati, moments of friendliness, moments of kindness, moments of understanding. Sati is there for a moment, and it's not my or your or anyone's sati. It's just a dhamma that arises at those moments of kusala. And so at moments of nekama, that sati has to be there, letting go of or guarding from akusala. And when it is nekama with understanding, awareness is there, awareness of the reality. So now when there's wise considering about dhammas, sati is there at those moments of wise considering. But as soon as there is clinging or ignorance, no sati again. So it's always just for a moment. So sati with nekama, sati letting go of akusala. I think, as Ajahn said, it's not about the terms or the labels, but beginning to understand more about the truth now, but moments of understanding, of seeing right now, the world right now. Sati is there, guarding from akusala and being aware of what is to be understood, even if it's just intellectual understanding that it arises with now. Carry on, Sukin.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking in terms of sati initially that nekama is similar to sati in the sense that it's to be understood as a dhamma that arises, a kusala cetasika that arises with all kusala chittas and performing its particular function at that moment. But only by comparison that this arises with all kusala moments, and so does nekama. But actually, I was thinking about nekama as alobha cetasika, but now you're saying it's more like sati.
Well, they both
Aloba,
arise.
adosa, and amoha all are nekama. Whenever kusala arises, any kind of kusala, there is nekama at those moments, and there is sati.
Yeah, there's a renunciation of a kusala, kunsukin. So it's sometimes framed as renunciation, but it's renunciation from a kusala. But broadly, I think especially relates to karma. Like we live in the karma loka, so the world of sensuous objects, as opposed to the arupa or arupa brahma loka. They're very different worlds. You know, they're the fine, yeah. Whereas we're in the karma loka is the 11 planes, including the human plane, where there's sensuous objects, and usually it often does relate to the word karma. I'm talking about karma with a long A. You know, there's the giving up of sensuous objects and the non-clinging of sensuous objects. That's what's renounced. You know, as Jonathan alluded to, it's not a story about somebody doing something. It's about the reality of letting go, essentially. And that, of course, there will be sati at those particular moments, whether there's, and if it's to be parami, there will be panya along with it.
We can say also that nature of all kusala, the goodness, is renunciation, the nature of all kusala.
Yeah, I think what maybe potentially problematic there is that for it to be parami, there needs to be panya also. So as we know, when it's just kusala, there doesn't have to be panya. So I think that's useful to consider, that aspect of it. You see what I'm saying, Haji?
Yeah.
But it can still be nekama when it's not parami. I think that's your point, Haji, right?
Yes. I mean the nature of
any
all
letting go of akusala.
Yes.
Anything further, Kim Hong?
Yeah, I think without understanding, anything cannot appear or cannot be arise. At the moment, it's not any nekame anymore, right, Sarah?
There can be moments of nekama, moments of letting go, clinging, moments of letting go, ignorance, moments of goodness now, even if there is no understanding of it. Like countless moments of kusala amongst all the many, many moments of clinging and ignorance. But if there's no understanding, it's not known and everything gets mixed up. So moments of kindness now, there is nekama, but maybe no understanding of that kindness.
Can we say though, Sarah, that when there's no panya, can we say that's parami of nekama?
No, not parami. We're talking about just nekama. It's only parami when there is understanding. But like last week, Ajahn was saying, at moments of karuna, it is nekama, for example. So the question was about nekama. So as we've discussed, there has to be understanding for it to be parami.
I just wanted to clarify.
Moments of kindness or karuna, this was Haji's point. It's still letting go of akusala at those moments.
I'm wondering now if we can say that's nekama when there is just kusala. Yes, I hear where you're coming from in the strict sense of the word. All right, I hear what you're saying.
Letting go of clinging and ignorance at those moments.
Yeah, and I think it specifically relates to sensuous objects, to karma, to karma. Karma raga specifically. Excuse me.
Well, nature of kusala is letting go, but for it to be letting go of ignorance, it has to be panya, that understanding. So but otherwise, nature of kusala is letting go of akusala in general.
Yeah, sure. That's absolutely right, Haji.
Yeah.
And if it's in the development of samatha, for example, understanding is there, no ignorance at those moments, but it's not parami because it's not understanding of reality, even though it's amoha, it's panya cetasika.
But it's not a letting go of ignorance because it has to be the right understanding.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that Sarah's brought up there. When development of samatha, development of jhana, there will have to be wisdom at the level of understanding the danger of sensuous objects. So that's certainly, in that way, nekama has been spoken about today, certainly fits into that category. There has to be that level of panya to develop that level of kusala needed to attain jhana, or at whatever level. There will have to be that letting go and the understanding of what leads to that letting go. If there's not the understanding, then there won't be nekam. It'll be just
And even at moments of metta or karuna now, there's letting go of any akusala, including ignorance. They don't arise because at moments of kusala, no conditions for akusala. So there is the guarding from akusala, letting go in that sense, even though it's not understanding of ignorance.
Yeah,
Many
Sarah.
interesting points. Thanks, Kim
Very
Hong.
interesting. Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank Sarah.
Let's see if Ajahn has anything further she would like to add to.
Yeah, Thanajan, would you like to speak anything?
Okay, now, okay. We can talk about anything, not just only nekama, isn't it? Because right understanding itself, understand the truth. So no matter what kind of akusla or kusla are there by the root, ignorance. But when the right understanding is there, it begins to understand the truth, little by little. At that very moment of understanding, it is nekama, the root of kusala. And no matter after that, all kinds of kusala is conditioned by right understanding as well, even it does not arise at that very moment, but it's there conditioned more kusala than akusala, little by little, and that is parami as well. That's why when the Buddha to be developed parami, sometimes not with understanding, but it's so great parami, rooted by understanding, accumulated, strong enough to perform such deeds that no one can perform, like the birth of Mahachanaka, see, just in the sea, and how come to reach the shore, see. That's why who knows that even right now, the understanding is there, but not conditioned for it to arise, to be that stage of understanding with such nekama. That's why without right understanding, even there is giving of kindness, but no understanding to let go. Ignorance, taking that for I, on and on and on and on. So without panya, there can never be parami. And when there is kusala as parami, it has to be enrooted by right understanding, little by little, no matter what kind of kusala. That's why for someone there are more kusala in such and such manner different from the others by the accumulation of parami, dana
Tanajan.
parami, or sila parami. Yes, please.
Tanajan Kappa, I was just going to ask you, when you mentioned Mahajanaka, was that from the Jatakas? Whereabouts was that from that you mentioned Mahajanaka?
Is that panya at moment of swimming?
Was that the Bodhisattva in a previous life? I'm not sure. I'm not so familiar with that.
So can there be more understanding of sati and so on? But what is the great parami of that life?
Oh, I see. It was when the Bodhisattva was Mahajanaka. Yes, thank you, Tanajan. Now I understand. Thank you.
So who knows how much understanding and how much parami of different kinds of parami, more or less, by conditions. That's why we can see what are there in daily life, more forgiveness, what kind of parami, and so on. Metta parami, be friendly to everyone. And other kind of parami, unknowingly, how much understanding rooted to condition such moment. For example, do we always think of something which is not wholesome at all, less or more in a day? It can trace on how much right understanding of parami in daily life. Time of helping the other, no matter in what situation, in a day, and so on. But talking about understanding, for those who have very kind, wholesome moment, do they understand the truth? So,
Yes, can be, Ajahn. This can be.
so the one who do good deeds without understanding is the accumulation of wholesomeness, but is that parami?
No, without understanding cannot be barami, Ajahn.
That's it. That's why what is accumulated, no matter with right understanding or without right understanding, condition each different moment in life until enlightenment.
As the quote Jonathan just shared from the Visuddhimagga says, all kusala, all sobhana states are nekama, but not parami, without understanding. And I think when it says all kusala states, it doesn't mean just when there is no clinging to sense objects, because any kusala states, so the paramis are developed right up to becoming an arahat. So even when there is no more clinging to sense objects for the anagami, still all the paramis, including nekama, are still being developed. Is that how
Sarah,
you understand it, Ajahn? Yes.
Sarah, I
Let
was
me just
thinking
ask,
along
can I
those
just ask?
lines.
Yes, okay.
Okay, no, I was thinking along the same lines as you, and what came to my mind was that when in jhana there's no sense object. So whether it's true that nekama at that time relates to um,
Anything to do with
detachment
sense
from sense
objects.
objects.
Yes.
But then I came to the conclusion that it must be in the overall sense, because at that time even jhana is having seen the danger of sense objects. So even an anagami is an anagami not without having seen the danger of sense objects. So maybe it's correct in terms of that, what Sundra has been pointing out again and again.
But we're talking about moments, so even at moments of kusala, great kusala for the anagami, there is the letting go of akusala, but it's not letting go of clinging to sense objects, because there is no that has been eradicated, but letting go of other kinds of clinging, letting go of ignorance. So it's still the development of nekama, letting go of conceit, letting go of clinging to attainments,
I'm not so
other
sure about
kinds
that.
of more subtle clinging.
I'm not so sure about that, Sarah. Nekamba, literally the word that's raised in the Pali is karma. So can you go over that again? You're talking about anagami. I think that seems to be, anyway, please elaborate what you're saying there.
What I'm saying is from my understanding, and I'll be interested to hear Jan's comments, the paramis continue to be developed. All the paramis continue to be developed until enlightenment. So even for the bodhisattva, all the paramis were developed on and on and on. So even when there is no more clinging to sense objects, there is still other kinds of clinging, still ignorance, and there's still the letting go of those other kinds of clinging and ignorance at moments of right understanding. But it's not letting go of clinging to sense objects that's been eradicated completely, but all kinds of kusala.
Sarah, a little bit. So when even for the arahata, I mean, they have no any defilements, but when their kirachita, the goodness arises, it's still an nekama baramis and all right, although there's no defilements left, but the nature of it is letting go, right?
Even though no ignorance to let go of.
Yeah.
Let's see what Ajahn, how she considers this point.
So now, what is parami again? Without understanding the reality that is so very deep, but it can be realized, but not with a kusala moment at all. The understanding of the truth that no one can make anything arise at all. Even one sees the danger of akusala and seeing the benefit of kusala, but no one can do anything. Only realities perform their functions each moment when it arises. So panya, right understanding, develops when it's there. But since there is the understanding of the truth of Dhamma, no one there at all, it conditions different moments of kusala in life, from life to life, by conditions with a little firmer understanding of anatta, little by little. Even it does not arise at that moment, but it develops gradually, secretly, little by little, to condition each moment of kusala. Even the panya does not arise, but it's conditioned by the panya parami. That is the difference between giving with attachment, wishing something in return, or just giving, not for oneself at all, but the understanding of the moment of that as just wholesome. So it conditions sati and other wholesome cetasikas arising together. So panya and each reality works its way. No one knows how much or how little, but it's there, conditioned by a little more understanding as parami, little by little, firmer and firmer, until it can realize the truth. That's why if someone just hear about the truth, that there's no one at all, but still cannot give away something or help in the other when time comes at all, what about that? Just listening. What about the understanding, the confidence of letting go? Atta, something. It works its way unknowingly. How much understanding today we learned Dhamma, we understand Dhamma more or less by conditions. But what is there today? The understanding cannot get away at all. It cannot be less, but it can be a little more. Understanding, can it be less? Understanding is understanding. It depends on whether it develops a little more or not. A little more of what kind of degrees of understanding. For example, right now, we talk about any reality, but when it's there, is it known? Or begin to develop to know it unknowingly, but instantly it's there by conditions, without moment to moment of understanding, little by little, not wish to have such and such to stop, to hinder the growth of panya. It's there by conditions. That's why sometimes there can be understanding in words, and sometimes there can be moment of considering or thinking about what has been heard, and sometimes it is that which directly aware of the truth. It doesn't mean that the one who understands can have only moment with direct awareness of a reality, but it depends on conditions. It can be just thinking about it, careful considering a little more to understand a little bit more. Or it can be moment of directly thinking about that which is there, but it's still thinking. And it can be that level of just understand instantly with awareness of a reality. Right understanding is there. So very little until a little more, all by conditions. That's why the understanding of Dhamma as anatta, the way it is, the way it develops, unknown. What would be next moment by conditions? Is this Dhamma? See, not anyone at all. Very
Ajahn,
yes,
sorry,
please.
Haji was raising the point about for the arahats, when there is obviously great wisdom with Kiriya Chitas. Can we talk about the paramis of the arahats, even though like the paramis of the Buddha?
For
Because
what?
actually sorry?
For what? Barami for what?
I let Haji answer.
I mean, Barami to be developed so that to
It
let
has
go.
developed to the degree that there can never be akusala anymore.
Yes, Tanachan.
So what is parami? See,
So no development for letting go of akusala because there is no more akusala. But in the case of the anagami, still akusala, so still the paramis are being developed, even though there's no more clinging to sense objects.
Yeah.
But for the arahat, no more, nothing more to be let go of, no ignorance, no
Yes.
attachment.
Sarah, even though there's no clinging to sense objects, there's still clinging. There is still clinging.
That's why the nekama continue and the other paramis continue to develop, even when there's no, it's not letting go of clinging to sense objects because that has been eradicated.
Yes, I know
But there are
that.
still other kinds of clinging and ignorance.
That's right. There are still other kinds of clinging.
Yes,
So when for Arahata, I mean, they don't have any defilement to let go already, but can we say that still when the Kriya Chitta is there, I mean, it's still a nekama. I mean, just like as kusala, the all nature of goodness is nekama. Can we say also for arahata also, although they don't have any defilements to let go, but it's still the nature of those realities. I'm not sure.
If we say the nekama is the letting go of akusala,
Yeah,
at any moments of kusala, there is the letting go of akusala, then this doesn't apply to the arahat, but it
yeah.
does apply to the anagami, even though it's just very fine akusala that is left.
Mm. Yes, like
Even in the arupa jhana realm, there'll
yeah.
be still letting go of akusala.
Yeah, but like for Arahata, like they don't have any ignorance left, but still they still listen to the Dhamma of the Buddha. So Panya also develop, but the ignorance have been already eradicated, but Panya can develop, right?
Right. So
Yeah,
panya continues to develop, but the job has been done, the
yeah,
task has been completed, but because of the benefit of continuing to develop more wisdom, greater wisdom, they continue to listen. Panya continues to develop. Metta continues to develop.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good points. Liang, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, from the discussion, I just would like to clarify that I understood that from the discussion, I understood that Nekama or Baramai only develop with the Kusala, yeah, and especially Baramai only it doesn't develop with Korea Chitta, only with Kusala and right understanding, with right understanding. Is it correct? Yeah, because for Korea Chitta, we cannot say that, oh, it's Baramai. Yeah, because what the Buddha said, they don't they never compare because at the reach the top level already. Is it correct,
I
Sarah?
think it's a very interesting point. We talk about the development of kusala in general with understanding, but we could be talking about the development of sobhana states, beautiful states. For example, metta continues to develop, panya continues to develop even for the arahat. So no kusala, only kiriya citas. So we could talk about sobhana, the sobhana citas continuing to develop. But in the case of nekama, and this was the good point Haji brought up and Ajahn asked him for, because it is the letting go of akusala, but no akusala to let go of. And for the anagami, no clinging to sense objects. So there's no letting go of clinging to sense objects, but there's still letting go of other kinds of clinging, other kinds of akusala, ignorance, for example. So many interesting points.
Yeah, yeah. It means that for nekama, only we talk only at the level of anagami, not at the level of the arhat. Yeah. And even baramai. Yeah, we don't talk about development of baramai at the level of arahat.
No, no, Liang, because we said that although Arahata have eradicated ignorance and all that, but they still had Panya that when listen to the Buddha, Panya being developed. It's a Panya that have been more and more developed, although ignorance is already eradicated, but Panya can still develop further and further. I mean, what I was going to say is that for Buddha, I mean, Samma Sambuddha, we know that his perfection is to the max already of everything, so it's not a development for him. But for Pacceka Buddha and other Arahata, I mean, they can still be developed of Barmi, although the Kilesa have been already eradicated, right? Can we say that, Sarah?
Yeah, but from what I understood is from listening. It doesn't mean that I understand by myself from the listening. At that level, even Panya, of course, still developing. Yeah, but it's not a Baramai anymore. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a
Haji,
Baramai.
didn't
But
didn't
they
you hear
still
Ajahn
have.
said what for?
Yeah,
Because
but it's sorry, a second, sorry.
no,
Yeah, I
no,
just would like
because
to
that
finish
Ajahn
my
said,
sentence.
and Sarah was saying that we've already reached the other shore. So Parami is the Dhamma that leads to reaching the other shore. So once you've reached, it's finished. It's not not needed anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for Satipatthana, yeah, surely at every level, yeah, Satipatthana still happen to them, still arise. Yeah, even they are Arahat.
And
Yeah,
of course, in
yeah.
truth, no arahats, no people, no Buddha. We're just talking
Yeah,
about different dharmas, moments of right understanding, moments of satipatthana, exactly different sobhana citas arising for a moment, falling away, moments of metta when there's no satipatthana at those moments, seeing, hearing, just like now, no
yeah.
satipatthana at those moments. So just different dharmas arising and falling away. And on the question of the
Yeah,
paramis,
Sarah, one
yeah,
point, because Hachi mentioned about only except the Buddha, even the Pacceka Buddha or Panya still develop. But I don't think that, because to become Pacceka Buddha, it means that the right understanding, what we call the wisdom, the enlightenment already developed to the top level already, Do you think that for Pacceka Buddha, still the right understanding still developing
I
after
think
enlightenment?
for the other arahats, the panya continues to develop, but I'll leave Pacceka Buddhas out. Yes,
Yeah, that's what I understood.
yeah, I also
Sorry,
wondered.
Hachi, to raise, because
Yeah,
sometimes even me, I always clarify.
Yeah. Never mind. Yes. Yeah.
and I think Ajahn made a good point when we're talking about the paramis. We talk about the development of kusala with understanding, and understanding has to be the source. Without right understanding of realities, the other kusala cannot be paramis. But it doesn't mean at every moment of that kusala, which is grounded or initiated by right understanding, it doesn't mean that right understanding arises with every moment of that kusala. So
Yeah.
great metta can be parami even if there isn't understanding of realities when it arises with the metta,
Yeah.
for example. So
But yeah, little bit about Pacceka Buddha. I mean, you said that you would leave that out, but I mean, as we know that Samma Sambuddha, I mean, he have to be perfect. He's the max of the perfection of all. I mean, that's we know, no doubt. But for Pacceka Buddha, can't it be the more developed? I mean,
But there's a difference, Haji, don't you see, between an Arahat and a Pacceka Buddha? The Arahat still listens to the Buddha's words, but
yeah.
Pacceka Buddha doesn't listen to anyone. There's no one there to instruct.
Yeah.
what more is there to be understood for the Pacceka Buddha?
Yeah.
It can be a very long way away from this moment of understanding, this moment of what is true, what is real now, what is to be known. Usually we just love the stories about Pacceka Buddhas and
Yeah.
Arahats and
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but what about now? What
Yeah.
about the thinking now? What about the consideration now? What about the lobha now? There can
Yeah.
be understanding even now of lobha, of thinking, and it can be parami even now with
Yes.
understanding, letting go of the clinging for a moment, the ignorance for a moment. So it's always back to now, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
Would you like to add anything further, Ajahn?
Everyone has the examination with different grade or degrees. Is that right? Arahata is Arahata, no matter Sariputta or Moggallana or any other Arahata. So, what's the question? And what else for Arahata before death? Just live or having more details, very, very pity of the very deeper and deeper, that which has passed already of that degree of arahata, but there is still more to hear about the truth. That's why it's the moment of joy, listening to the truth of what that has been already passed. Great understanding, but there can be a little more because no one can be Samma Sambuddha or Sariputta or Moggallana, different foremost. So it does not hurt at all. It's time of joy to listen again of that which has already understood. Is that true? So we can talk about Dhamma. We understand Dhamma some degree, but there can be a little more details, very, very subtle to talk about it at level of Sotapanna, Sakatagami, Anagami, and Arahata. Exactly the same. Different conditions, different interests. No matter Sotapanna, Sakatagami, Anagami, or Arahata. Dhamma is Dhamma. It does not belong to anyone, but it's so very, very refined, very, very subtle, different ones by conditions. You have passed different levels of grade, degree. What else would you like? When time comes to listen again and again with joy, appreciate the very, very refined and subtle reality in different, more aspects, more different aspects. See, it's better than just sit, no talk about the truth by different manners from different ones' experience. Is that true? Just like now, until becoming arahata, exactly the same. Or if you were arahata, what would you do before death? Listen again and again with joy of the appreciation of Dhamma more and more for those who were not Sariputta, not the Buddha. See, what else would be pleasant moment in a day with Mahakiriya Citta? That's why it's the difference between Mahakusala and Mahakiriya, listening to the same word. While Buddha taught the truth to anyone at that moment, that could be Sotapanna or Sakatagami or just no Aryan person at all. Different ones, but hearing can condition such moment with such understanding. For those who haven't yet eradicated the akusala, and for those who have already eradicated akusala, see, the word of truth is so very, very beautiful, so true, more and more to be heard. It's at the best moment in life for everyone.
Certainly. And this is why we refer to Sobhana Cheetahs, because it includes both Kusala and the Mahakiriya Cheetahs of the Arahat.
Sorry, Ajahn. Yeah, sorry, Sarah. Ajahn, when you ask what the difference when listening to the same word of the what the difference between the one who Arahat and the one not Arahat.
See?
I think for the Arahat one, only like choice of listening paite, but the non-Arahat one, when they listen to the word of understanding, I think the mind process at that time, or we call understanding, the Panya Citasika, will process for the Baramai, yeah, but not Arahata.
For Arahata, Mahakiriya
Yeah.
is listening. But
Yeah.
for the one who is not Arahata, not Mahakiriya, listening.
Yeah. And but I think the one that happy or choice the most, I think Arahata, because like when I listen to you, if I understand you the most, I'm so happy, like more happy than when at the moment of less understanding. I'm not sure that I understand.
Yeah. So it depends on the degree of understanding, not
Yeah.
Sotapanna yet, and Sakatagami, and Anagami, and Arahata, even no Kilesa at all. But the moment of listening to the very, very subtle truth so very beautifully, see,
Yeah.
while the Sotapanna understand not as much,
Yeah.
and the one who hasn't enlightened yet doesn't have such understanding.
Yeah, thank you. Because when you understand the diamond the most, you will give the more value. If you don't really understand, less understand, you think that it will have less value than the one that understand.
All depends on understanding. Never enough.
Yeah. Thank you, Ajahn.
You can say, Liang, when looking at the diamond, the more knowledge there is about it, the greater the joy with Loba. And when listening to the Dhamma, the greater understanding, the greater joy there is with understanding.
Yeah.
Akusala joy and kusala joy.
Yeah. That's why I'm thinking at this moment, even I'm so happy and look like have purity, but I'm not sure that it lopa or lopa or
Pleasant feeling
really
of Loba, pleasant feeling of understanding.
Yeah.
Different moments, yes.
Yeah.
Good to appreciate that.
Thank you, Sarah.
And Sally, would you like to read out your comments or share your comments?
Yes, So I think I just want to emphasize the discussion on renunciation because I think as John and Bong Kim Hong discussed just now, I think it's some text that we read was quite confusing. It seemed to be renunciation. It has something to do with individual has to put commitment and effort to give up belonging, property, and leave home to the forest of pagoda. While indeed, I think it is not the case. Renunciation is through the understanding of reality, and when Panya develop, it is the renunciation. There's no need for one to give up, home or belonging, and have to follow the certain rule, as what we used to read or have heard, in the past. So thank you. Yes.
But Sally, even if there's renunciation now without reference to giving up all those things, if it renunciation with Panya, there would be right effort also, right?
Yes.
There
yes,
would be
correct.
yeah.
Yes. It have to come with viriya, with
Yeah.
all of that. But all is reality. Is no one have to
Right.
put effort and commitment. As such. Thank you.
So that's why whatever the topic, it comes back to the understanding of dharmas as anatta. The
Yes.
more understanding of dharmas as anatta, no
Mhm.
matter what conventional situation we're hearing about or reading about or thinking about, one knows there are just different realities. And as Liang just pointed out, even now, joy with Lobha, joy with Kusala, different moments. And it's the same when leaving home. Is it with attachment or with understanding? It all comes back to this moment, not the situation. Thanks, Sally. And Betty wants to add a comment or bring something up. Go ahead, Betty.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify something that Sukin mentioned before about the Pacceka Buddha. The Pacceka Buddha doesn't also has to listen to a teacher. He doesn't learn the Dhamma without listening to a teacher. Only a Sammasambuddha would have that. So I just thought I would clarify that.
Betty, this what distinguishes a Pacceka Buddha from Arahat, a Savaka. But an Arahat who's a Savaka in the last life must have heard the Dhamma. Without hearing the Dhamma, cannot. But a Pacceka Buddha in that last life would have been enlightened on his own. But he's not at the level of Samma Sambuddha.
Yes, but he also, I always thought the difference of a Pacceka Buddha was that he just doesn't teach. It's not that he hasn't learned. I see. Maybe you mean, and the same as a Sammasambuddha, he would
In that lifetime, yes.
in that lifetime. Oh, okay, all right. But at least in the
But he
last,
doesn't, like you say, he doesn't have the ability to share, to teach, even though he has not needed to listen to anyone in that last lifetime.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Fully enlightened.
He doesn't have the potential to concept the word like Dhamma, like Samma Sambuddha would.
Yeah, he doesn't teach. That's what that means.
I mean, he's still people, he's still like, when you go to get food, like normally, I mean, what I heard is that Pacceka Buddha can teach to do good and all that, but cannot teach the truth, the Dhamma, like how Buddha or other Savaka would be able to teach.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
I think this is an interesting area, but we can only largely probably speculate about this one. But, he's got an incredible level of panya. What we can say there is at that time, and there's sometimes up to 500 particular Pacceka Buddhas living together, that they, with that level of panya, it would seem to me certainly that they would talk and share with one another, but there are no conditions to teach other people. That's how I've understood this, but they could share their level of panya with each other. To me, that would be quite evident. Otherwise, they wouldn't have reached that. It's much that incredible level of panya to be enlightened by themselves, but they just don't. There are no conditions, it seems to me, for them to teach others who are not enlightened, who are not at their level, to enable them to become enlightened. There are not conditions for that. It's quite of a blurry area, it seems to me, but that's higher levels of panya than a sawika. Of that, there's no question. But it is very high level of panya, just below, or it's below, samma sambuddha, but it's profound levels of wisdom. That's my understanding, and there are just not conditions to teach. Not that they're unable to teach.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard that they can't, they are not in the position to concept the word like Samma Sambuddha, because all Savaka have heard the Dhamma from the Buddha before. They have to have, but the only person that truly can, like after enlightenment is only Samma Sambuddha. I mean, Pacceka Buddha still teach others to do to do goods and all that other good kusala, but he's not in the situation, capability of his to teach Dhamma like Sama Sambuddha would.
I think what you read may be referring to details, but as Sundara just reminded us, if in the case of all those several Pacceka Buddhas being in the same place, wouldn't you think that they would be communicating with each other about what they understand?
But I'm just thinking that even although that was the case, we are running out of time. Maybe we can talk later. Yeah.
We've just got a couple of minutes left, so let's see if Ajahn would like to add any comments or finish with any of her own points that she'd like to mention.
What about Visakha Maha Upasika? She became enlightened at 7 years old. Did she teach someone?
Well, wouldn't she? That's an interesting point, Tanajanka. Wouldn't she have spoken to other people? But I can hear what you're saying. So you're saying because she was so young, she was not likely to teach. Is that what you're saying, Tanajan?
Can anyone know when will be moment of enlightenment?
No, Tap. Impossible.
So before that, who knows that the parami is ready to condition moment of enlightenment? See, after that, does that person teach or not, depending on situation and condition, right? Not all Sautapanna teach, right?
No, they don't, Cup.
Depending on conditions and situation. So when it's not time for the Samma Sambuddha, it's just the time ready for anyone. Listen to the teachings of this both Samma Sambuddha. Develop until unknown moment before it would arise to be instantly anatta. It's there by conditions. Do those people teach like Samma Sambuddha or Savaka in the time of Buddha? All depends on situation and who would understand the word of truth if there's no accumulation enough.
I suppose, like Tanajan Cup, I'm very conscious of the time, but I'm aware of Astaji when he spoke to Sariputta. He did teach in his own way, but it was only those that because of Sariputta's very, very high level of accumulated panya, he was able to understand those very famous words, Ye Dhamma, and so on. So he did teach, we can say, in his own way, but I take your point, Tanajankup, because it's going to depend upon conditions. Some might be very quiet for the rest of their lives and not say much at all. Yeah.
No,
enough.
and Sundara, you might also consider the fact that the Buddha, after his enlightenment, he was disinclined to teach, which means that at that moment it could have been not to teach at all, right? Of course, he was Samma Sambuddha, he would teach, but so maybe that's the case with the Pacceka Buddhas, no conditions to teach because the Dhamma is so deep and there's no audience.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too, Kunsukin. I agree with you there, totally.
Sorry, Sarah. I know that time is up, but I just raise a question for next time. Yeah, because when we talking about teaching, yeah, the difference between the Buddha and Pacceka Buddha, the Buddha, he instruct like Citta, how many Citta, Cittasika or Lopa, but the real teaching, when we study deeply, every word of Buddha is the lesson. I think it's also applied in that way to Pacceka Buddha. Thank you.
And just briefly on Visakha, which Ajahn mentioned, yes, I referred to her in an earlier discussion. She didn't hear about details about nimitta and the different vipassana jnanas and whatever, not necessary, like Sariputta, no need to hear so much detail. And when I've read about other Samma Sambuddhas, some were able to teach a lot of detail and some not so much. So it all depends on conditions and many factors. But yes, we can continue next time with these points, Liang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ajahn. Thank you,
Dita,
Sarah, and
Ajahn.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Very
much.
lively, very lively discussion. Yes.
Thank you very much, Tanajan.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, everyone. See you next
Thank you,
See you
Ajahn.
next
See you,
time.
everyone.
time.
See you,
Sarah and John.
Bye-bye. See you next time.
See you next week. Monday.
Thanks to everyone for joining.
Right.
Yes, see you on Monday.
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Monday or next Saturday. Yes, anytime. Thanks, Pete, for your help. Bye-bye, everyone.
And Pete, yeah.
สวัสดีค่ะ
Hi, Anne.
everyone.
Sorry, Jan. Thank you.
Ajahn.
สวัสดีครับท่านอาจารย์ครับ
Bye, Pete.